The FSS Liberty's Gift jumped into the outer reaches of the Galadur system, the dim red-hued light of the star, aura, painting the custom-built starship in a crimson glow. The crew of the ship slowly roused from their deep, fog-induced slumber, their higher brain functions returning after being deadened to negate the catastrophic effects of the FTL sickness, the malady. It was often a dangerous time for a ship. Re-emergence from FTL was in the hands of the ship's restricted AI, and it was always the mostly likely moment a freighter such as Liberty's Gift would be set upon by pirates or worse. Fortunately for the crew and the ship, Galadur had no issues with such piracy, and the designated Outer System Emergence Zone, or EZ, was actively surveilled and patrolled by a standing Galadur Navy warship. The captain of the Liberty's Gift, a grizzled veteran merchant called Tarak, originally out of Plateau, admired the sleek black hull, bristling weapons ports, and aft-mounted AG field manifold of the frigate-class vessel. Max jump range, 220 light-years. What a beauty, a voice declared without being prompted. Tarak smiled inwardly at his son, Kantir, and his obvious enthusiasm. The captain would never allow himself to so overtly express his admiration or excitement, but that was one of the great gifts of having his son as part of the crew, the ability to live vicariously through the young man's eagerness and delight. Before Tarak could respond, the tinny static of the bridge comm buzzed. FSS Liberty's Gift. This is the GNS Stalwart Shield. We are in OPCOM of the Aura 3 EZ. Your ship is identified in the GMR. Please transmit your course codes. The Liberty's Gift had paid a handsome fee to the Royal Galadur Treasury to be included in the Galadur Merchants Registry. No small feat for a free flagger vessel, but it meant that transit to and from Galadur was a much more streamlined process than standard processes, free from unnecessary bureaucratic delays and bribes. Tarak knew very well that in the merchant business, time was money. Tarak turned to his son and nodded, and Kantir transmitted the course codes, revealing the planned transit route the Liberty's Gift proposed to undertake to reach its destination. Within moments of the transmission, the comm buzzed once more. Received. Please exit the EZ and commence intra-system from the DA. OPCOM out. The comms suddenly went silent, and without a moment's pause, the ship's pilot, a talented young woman named Jenna, did as instructed and began to guide the ship with thrusters away from the EZ to the adjacent deployment area, or DA, before cycling up the Liberty's Gift AG manifold and commencing a sublight jump. The nature of interstellar spaceflight meant that while jumping across the void of star systems took only a matter of minutes, subjectively, intra-system sublight jumps could take hours, even days. Conserving fuel was again key to a merchant's success, and the more a ship could rely on naturally forming gravity wells to bounce within a star system to their intended destination, the less they had to rely on AG manifold to manifest their infinite density pseudogravity needed to activate supraliminal flight. That meant less fuel and higher profit. So while it was possible for the Liberty's Gift to jump direct into the Galadur planetary EZ from the Aura 3DA, it was customary for ships to instead travel to the nearest gas giant and use the planet's immense gravity well to finish the journey. And so the Liberty's Gift, with Jenna at the helm, spent the next 12 hours jumping 5 separate times before reaching geosynchronous orbit above the single most important world in the galaxy, and for all ostensive purposes, the new home of humanity post-Lost Earth, Galadur. Jenna was careful to maintain jump velocity at between 50% and 80% of light speed, never once breaching that light barrier that crushed the human mind beneath the catastrophic weight of non-relativistic anti-causality. It was hard work, jumping into orbit around moons and gas giants across the star system, waiting for just the right orbital arc to jump again. But they had arrived, the Galadur planetary Easy, and the crew was immediately struck by the enormity of the orbital infrastructure and productive capacity of the throne world of the hegemony. Pod caches and holding pens lead and follow the orbit of the planet's primary launch platform. A huge array of generators, loading stations, and giant AG manifolds, constructed around the spinal-mounted cannon-like structure that launched the automated cargo pods across the galaxy. Lower in orbit were over 6 toroid spin stations, along with zero-G manufacturing complexes, the largest of which was the Titan shipyards and Mega Foundry. Once again, the registry membership paid dividends to the Liberty's gift, and their processing order moved from 850th in line to the head of the clustered flotilla of retrofitted pods, makeshift freighters, and custom bespoke mercantile liners. Jenna plotted a thruster-enabled deorbit burn that saw the Liberty's gift slowly converge with the Titan shipyard receiving bays. It was less than half an hour before the ship's docking clamps secured the ship against the giant hulk of the shipyards, over 5 million tons of steel orbiting with enough mass to generate its own gravity field. As the ship's AG field and HE3 fusion generators powered down and the auxiliary power systems whirred to life, Captain Tarak smiled to himself. He looked out at the bay platform as dock workers rushed feverishly to receive his ship and unload the precious cargo, rare earths from the slime world of Corrix in the Fringe World Alliance. This was his 13th run of the year, transiting between Corrix and Galadur to deliver critical rare earths to fuel the hegemony's military-industrial complex. It had been a busy 4 months, and they were only a day or two behind schedule, which wasn't too bad. Another completed run meant a much-needed deposit into his ship's account, gold dollars, which were the preferred form of payment in this part of the galaxy. It wasn't a huge payment. The annual contract split into equal payments, but it was enough to keep the ship flying, pay to conduct some routine maintenance, remunerate the crew for their share, and maybe, just maybe, even have enough left to stow a small clutch of credits aside for a rainy day. It was hard work, but as Tarak looked over once more at his son, who was making right his comm station before shore leave, he knew it was worth it. A couple of days and they would be back at it again. He walked over to Cantir and patted his son on the back and spoke. 13 down, 27 more to go.